All right, everybody. It's a broadcast of the Every Star Network, sponsored by the E Nation. Shout out to the Verbal Assassin. That's my sweetheart. Happy birthday, Verbal Assassin. You know, I love that woman. People ask me, well, Max, how do you love black women that some black men don't think highly of or think they're out of control? It's very, very easy because they loved us when we were out of control. Remember when you were a little kid and how you got into everything and you tore up the house and you don't even want to hear the things I did as a kid. Some of you probably will wonder why I'm still alive, you know? But I don't look at it as black women being unruly. See, when you understand their nature, you understand a lot of things about them. A lot of things that they do don't bother me. It bothers a lot of you guys because many of y'all are weak and pathetic and effeminate. I'm not any of those things. So, and I had a very spirited conversation with a sister last night. Shout out to, I believe her name was Culture. And we had a very, very good conversation last night. Now, some probably would have thought we were arguing, but no, that's my sister. Man, we went back and forth, and she finally saw the love that I had in my heart for her and other black women, and we had a great, great discussion, and I really enjoyed that. And again, thanks to the Verbal Assassin for letting me partake on the panel. Today, I'm going to talk about losing and why we as black men need to disengage in any kind of gender war with our black women, and we need to start loving our black women so we can start winning. One of the reasons why we're losing is because of the lack of love we have and show to our women. It's gangster talk. Let's talk about it. All right, then, let's go to work. legendary Michael Jackson. What's going on, everybody? It's Gangsta Talk. I am the Black Knight, joined by the female knight, the dame. She's always by my side. Let's kick this off. Before I get started, of course, I want to go through my little thing. Sound check. Let me get a sound check.
All right. Hear you loud and clear.
All right. I want to start this podcast off a little special. A challenge. And I'll repeat the challenge as more people come in. But the challenge is I want somebody to come up here and explain to me. It can be a guy or a girl, a woman or a man. Information is information. Explain to me how pimps are a part of our culture and how they help the culture, how they help black women, how they help black men, whether it be young or old, and how they are an asset and a positive influence on black culture. So anybody who's brave enough to come stand up against the Black Knight, a real life superhero that I am, the mic is open all throughout this show. Now, we're not going to go too far into it. We're going to carry it over to Sunday to where we can have an entire show where somebody comes up and explains to me how pimps and pimp culture is a positive influence on black culture. Okay? Y'all brave enough to come and do that? The mic is open. Now, I had a very, very interesting discussion last night on Verbal Assassin Show. Shout out to the Verbal Assassin. Talking to a sister named Culture. And the more me and her had a back and forth, the more beautiful she sounded to me. I tell you, a black woman is just amazing. So y'all have no idea what I'm talking about, many of y'all, because you're not spiritually in tune with black women. That's your biggest problem. You're not spiritually connected to the black women in your life. See, if you were spiritually connected and in tune with the black women in your life, you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say certain things that may sound foreign to you. So as I talked to this woman more and more, she started to sound more and more beautiful to me, right? So at the end of the day, she ended up understanding me. I understood her from the door because I understand black women. I understand that our sisters are upset. A lot of them are traumatized. A lot of them are fed up, angry. And so sometimes when you engage in conversation with them, you're going to get scratched up. You're going to get some bumps and bruises. You're going to get beat about the head. But you got to be strong enough and patient enough to understand it and deal with it and not deal with it in a negative way. See, as a black man, we want to find solutions to our problems, not create more problems. And we want to try to make a stronger connection with our women rather than push ourselves away from our women and push them away from us. Now, a lot of you have been pushing black women away from us. Let's just face it, some of you knockers are just flat out stupid. Okay, so many of you have engaged in a gender war and don't even know why you engaged in it because you're following other people. You really don't have no understanding of what you're doing on your own because many of you knockers can't think for yourselves. That's why you follow guys like Kevin Samuels, Alpha Male Strategies, Alan Roger Curry, and all these slick talking dudes that can mentally and emotionally manipulate you. And so, for some reason, you think it's okay as a black man to fight against your black woman. Like you're actually going to win something. Like you're at a carnival, you're going to win some kind of prize, you know? You know, at carnivals, they have different prizes sitting in the back when you play certain games. One of the most famous games at a carnival is the milk can game, right? Where you got the softball, you throw it up in the air, and you try to make it go through that hole in the milk can, and you win a big old giant teddy bear. Some of you have engaged in fighting against black women as if you're trying to beat a game at a carnival. Well, this isn't a carnival, it's real life. I'm just a little confused. The more I hear you guys go against your women, right? You know, you got ignoramuses like Brian Palmer, Ramil, these imbeciles making retarded videos called Pump and Dump. I'm trying to figure something out here. What do you think is going to happen when you are alienating your women against you? What do you think is going to happen? You think that you'll be able to go to another race of women and everything's going to be cool? You think just because you're a black man that you can go and create black children? Now, I've heard really, really retarded things like some black men think that you can make Becky's children black. Am I hearing that correctly? Hey, Dan, come in here real quick.
Yes.
Did we hear some fool say, didn't we hear some fool say that he can make Becky's babies black?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. You can go back on mute. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't hearing things. I heard a black man say that he can make Becky's babies black. Now, I want you to hold on to that thought. Let me go back out and come back in because I'm frozen. Hold on to that thought. We're going to unpack that when I get right back, okay?
All right. All right. Hey, Phoenix Genie. Hello, Polo Sport. Uh, yeah. B1 for life. Okay. Yes, this is what they're saying. They believe that black man has the seed.
All right, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, I heard about all of this seed thing, right? Even though a seed, right, isn't anything that has to do with liquid. Semen is liquid. Of course, if you look up the definition of Webster's dictionary, which is written by white people, it'll tell you that a seed is also the sperm of a man, even though it shows you all of these other seeds that are very physical in nature, right? It tells you that the man seed is the sperm. We'll get into that too, okay? First of all, your so-called seed, right? It does play a very, very small role in the situation, you know, for its DNA. But I don't know if you really want to go so far as to say it's the seed because a woman already has eggs in her body. She's born with eggs. And even though her eggs are unfertilized, they're still alive. So the woman already has seeds of human beings in her body. So what would she need with your so-called seed? What do you think those eggs are? What do you think they are? Well, we'll deal with that some other time because I've heard some really crazy shit about that too. And you guys are like completely lost about that. But let's get back to this You're going to make Becky's babies black. How are you going to do that? Matter of fact, let's add that to the challenge. When you come up here and try to explain to me how pimps and pimp culture is a positive influence on black culture, throw in there making Becky's babies black. I need to hear that too. So if you're brave enough to come stand up against the Black Knight, the mic is open. We're going to drop the mic here in a little bit because I'm dying for somebody to come up here and try to explain this to me. Let's talk about this for a second. You are a black man and you say that you're going to make Becky's babies black. How in the world are you going to do that without the black woman? I need to really, somebody needs to really hit me over the head with some real good information because only a black woman and a black man can create a black child. A black man and a black woman cannot create a black child. A black man and a Asian woman cannot create a black child. A black man and a dog cannot create a black child. Okay, that dog thing, that's sometimes I get carried away with these Beckys, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I need to know how you're going to create a black child out of a black woman, which is a big deal. In order to create a black person, you have to have the mother. You cannot create a black child without the mother. The father on his own cannot create a black child. You have to have the origin. You have to have the beginning. You have to have the nest. That's the mother. So how are you doing that without the mother? I need somebody to explain that to me. How are you creating a black child without a black mother? The race of the child is whatever the mother is, not what the father is. The race of the child is whatever the mother is, because that is who carries the child. That is who cultivates the child in her body. That's where the child gets everything from. So how in the hell are you removing that and making a black child? So you saying that you're going to skeet inside of white Becky and in her body, your genes or whatever you call yourselves are going to be so dominant that it's going to go in, your sperm is going to travel through her system and tell each and everything that has to do with creating the child what to do. What sperm have you seen that can do something like that? As a matter of fact, what sperm have you seen still prevalent in a woman's body when she weeks the first week of pregnancy? There was no more male sperm in her body after that. So how is your sperm still present, telling the woman's body what to do? I need answers on that. Now I want to hear any shit about Yakub and any 5% of mathematics and we're reaching a higher state of consciousness. I don't want to hear any of that shit. I need cold hard facts on how, as a black man, You are creating a black child without its black mother, which is the most important ingredient that you need to create a black child. I need to know that. I need one of you geniuses, even you red pillars, whoever the hell that is. Hey, I'm calling all. I'm taking on all comers, manosphere, red pillars, green pillars, psychedelic pillars, whatever pillars you want, purple pillars, fuchsia pillars, pink pillars, radiated pillars, funky pillars, whatever pill you want to be, come up here and take on the Black Knight and make it make sense to me how a black man is creating a black child without his black mother. Now I know with the information I have and what I've studied and learned that that's biologically impossible. It's a biological impossibility. But if you know something I don't know, come on up here and educate the Black Knight. So you lay down with flea ridden Becky and have children with her, those children are white because the mother is white. People keep talking about Drake, and people keep talking about, okay, Drake's father has the weakest genes I've ever seen because Drake looks like a white man with a beard. Okay? Looks like a white man with a beard. And his son is definitely a white boy. That's not a black child. But I'll take you one even further than that. There's a brother that played for the Kansas City Chiefs, a quarterback named Patrick Mahomes. Have you seen him? Go look up Patrick Mahomes. Dan, when you get a chance, get a picture of Patrick Mahomes and put him on the screen. And tell me what his parents are, too. So this whole thing about you can create black children somehow without the black mother needs to be explained to me. And I need cold, hard facts. I don't want to hear no shit about how you feel about yourself. I don't want to hear shit about your ego. Man, I'm a black man and my seed is strong. And I don't want to hear none of that. I need cold, hard facts. Because my science tells me that what you're telling me is a biological and scientifical impossibility. So I'm gonna need you to override all of that, and it has to make sense. It can't be on some. Well, I'm a black man, and the black man is God, and the black. Nah. We nah. If that's what you're coming up here with, don't even bother. Okay. Don't come up here with none of this black man is God shit and Malcolm X. I don't want to hear it. I need cold hard facts that's going to dispute biological science. Science. Biological science. You need to get around these biological and scientific impossibilities when you talk about creating a black child without the mother. You're going to have to get around those. Okay? I'm willing to listen. I can't wait to hear some of this stuff. I want to hear how you somehow found some amazing method to get around creating a black child without a black mother. I need to know that. And so while we're doing that, let's get on with something else over here, right? Black men, you're losing. You are a loser, and everybody's looking at you as a loser. When you should be connecting with your women. You see, one of the reasons why you're in last place in everything, and you got foot and ass everywhere you go, okay? It's because you're not spiritually connected to your woman. Your woman is the key to everything. I've said to you before, once you achieve that spiritual connection with your woman, okay, now, this is Patrick Mahomes. Is that his mother name? Okay, apparently Dame has gone rogue.
Yes, that's him with his parents.
So that's his mother, and that's his father?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody. Phenotypes are very, very, very important here. You just got finished hearing me say that whatever the mother is the race of the child. Look at Patrick Mahomes' mother and look at Patrick Mahomes and look at his face, look at his phenotype, and tell me, does it fit the type of his mother? That's Patrick Mahomes, one of the baddest quarterbacks that ever played the game. Well, Patrick Mahomes is white. Yes, he has some black in him. His father is a brother. There's some black in him. But for all intents and purposes, Patrick Mahomes is a white man. And when he has children, even if he has children, with a white woman, his children will be white. Now, if he has children with a black woman, because he is mixed, his children will come out with more melanin because the mother is going to be dominant. But his child is still going to be mixed because he's mixed. So even he can't create a black child. And he has some black in him. Even with a black woman, he can't create a black child because he's mixed. But if he got with a white woman, he will produce a white child because the mother's white. You got to be careful with these mixed people, right? Mixed people breed mixed children, regardless of what the mother is, because the gene pool is already crossed up. So, okay, then you can get them off the screen.
Okay.
So again, we have to have this discussion. And I'm going to be dropping the mic here in a little while. I need somebody to come up here and explain to me about pimp culture, how that's positive and influencing black people positively. I need that information too. If anybody's brave enough to come up here and explain that to me. Second, I need to know about this. Black men are creating black children. Okay, put his picture back up there, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his mother is a real, live, authentic Becky, a white woman all day long. Look at his father. His father's dark, right? His father would be what you consider dark skin or a brown or a deep brown skin. Do you see any of that in Patrick Mahomes? His father's black. Father's sitting right next to him. Father's black. Look at the melanin his father got in his skin. Hell, if the father goes over and stand next to the mother, they'll look like black and white chess pieces. Do you see any of that in Patrick Mahomes? What do you see dominant in Patrick Mahomes? Look at the skin tone. Look at the facial feel. Look at the phenotypic features. What's dominant? What's dominant is the mother. I'm not even sure if he picked anything up from his father at all. You don't see hardly anything about his father in him at all. Patrick Mahomes is a white boy. And the evidence is clear right in your face. His mother is white. Look at his father. His father is black. Do you see anything from his father in him? No. So is this father delusional, saying that his son is black when his son clearly isn't black? And we're not even talking about a high tone black kid. We're talking about this boy is a white boy. He's a white boy with some black in him. And if you ever talk to Patrick Mahomes or hear Patrick Mahomes talk, he sounds like a white boy. He don't even act or think like a white dude. Most of his friends are white. Because he's a white boy. All right, get him off the screen. So, okay, so he went and got a white wife or a white woman, and they're gonna have a white boy for a child or a white girl. Now, you said he picked up his father's athletic ability. All right. So he's a white boy that can run very fast, or he's a white boy that can throw a football, or he's a white boy that's a little athletic. That's pretty much it. Now, this is not about whether they're successful or not. This is about black men and black women. We're not talking about the success of mixed people. That's not what my conversation is about. My conversation is about bringing black men and black women together. But we can't do that until we get all of these ridiculous notions out of our way, such as a black man can create a black child out of a black woman, which is a scientifical and biological impossibility. But apparently you guys know more than me. I'm open to it. Come on up here and explain to me how you get around this biological and scientific impossibility. I need to know that. And I could care less who's successful about whatever. I'm not interested in any of that. Now, getting back to what I was saying about being spiritually in tune with your woman, this is why you're losing, because you're not connected to your woman. See, powerful men are connected to the women in their lives, and they often consult with their women behind closed doors. Most black men aren't connected to black women. This is why you don't have anything. Now, what is the strongest force in a black family? Now, some of you are going to say, well, it's the black man. The black male is the foundation. Okay, you can say that, but he's not the strongest force in the black family. The strongest force in the black family is the black mother. You cannot have a black family without a black mother. And so those who say, well, the black man can go somewhere and create a black family. No, he cannot. Now, if you go somewhere and deal with a non-black woman, you're going to have a non-black family. There is no black family. You can only have a black family with a black woman. Now, some of you, right, got your reality all screwed up and shit. Some of you think that your opinion should be heard. And some of you can't really tell the difference between one thing or the other and don't know how to concede in an argument where you cannot win. And some of you just want to say something for the sake of being heard. But none of that makes you right. None of it. The bottom line is you cannot have a black family without a black mother. You can't have anyone black without a black mother. Now you can sit up here and try to convince me of some other shit like, well, it's the black man's seed and he go, nah, man, that don't it don't work that way. Your so-called seed doesn't determine race. It just fertilizes. That's all it does. It just wakes things up. It doesn't determine anything. So you guys got the wrong understanding about your seed. Don't even know how it works. You think that your seed determines race. It doesn't do that. It's not strong enough to do that. It doesn't have enough power in it to do that. It doesn't. The woman determines the race of the child, not the father. The woman also determines whether the child is going to be male or female because her body assigns that to the child. We talked about the supernumerary organ in a woman's body called the Wolffian duct. When it gets its orders from the woman's body, it creates the sex of the child, which was female in origin. I know you guys don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that you were a female. You don't want to hear that you're a female now. Some of you want to act like females, but don't want to understand that your origin at the core of your base is feminine energy, female. You were a female before you became a male, which was decided by the woman's body to assign your soul that information, which allowed the Wolffian duct to create the sexual organ that will distinguish you from a woman. Look up the Wolffian duct. The Wolffian duct. Now, let's get back to this so-called seed. Again, when you look up the definition, hey, Dame, do me a favor. Look up the definition of seed and put the pictures on the screen. We're going to have a seed conversation. Because apparently a lot of you guys don't know what a seed really is. A seed really isn't a liquid thing. Seeds never come in liquid form, which is why I'm kind of suspect on how the male sperm is a seed. Now, some of you say, well, God said it's the seed. But is he talking about your sperm? Or is he talking about your child? Some of you would say, well, God said, don't waste the seed. Don't waste the seed. Don't spoil the seed. Don't fornicate. Is, is he really talking about your sperm? Some of you really need to go back and look at those words and really put those words into context and look at everything around that. And then ask yourself, is he really talking about your sperm? Now I know some of you done ran with all of that, but did you really understand what was being said? Do you really understand why the Creator doesn't want you to fornicate? You spoil the seed. Because if you're having sex with too many women, maybe your sperm won't be strong enough to put the right nutrients and ingredients into its fertilization. But is that really the seed? I mean, we have common sense, right? Seeds don't come in liquid form. But then we're talking about something biblical, right? We're talking about something otherworldly. We're talking about something higher than us, right? Because we all know that seeds don't come in liquid form. They're very hard physical things that you can touch, right? But you walk around here and you believe that your sperm is a seed. Well, a seed has a very specific, function. A seed creates something, right, that looks just like itself. So if you have a seed from a flower and you plant that seed is going to reproduce that flower, right? Well, your so-called seed has restrictions and cannot do what a flower seed does. These are seeds. See, they're all physical in nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you plant them, they do something very specific. Can you read the definition of what they do, Dan?
Okay. All right. A flowering plant unit of reproduction capable of developing into another such plant. That's
Okay,
the first.
stop. Capable of developing it into another such plant. Your seed can't do that. The only time your seed can do that is when it's inside of a black woman. A plant seed can do it in any kind of soil. Go ahead, Dan, finish reading.
Okay. A quantity of seeds. The cause or latent beginning of feeling, process, or condition. Second definition, a man's semen.
Right, which is suspect.
Hmm.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back. I'm frozen.
Okay. Okay. All right. Culture. Not true to parent due to hibernation, natural or man. Yeah, but hibernation also sounds like a mix. As a hybrid of two different things.
Hmm.
Uh, high
You said a
culture.
mango. You said a mango seeds are not true to parents, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so are you saying that the man's semen is the same way? Because you would be describing the man's semen if you say that the mango seeds aren't true to the parents. And then one thing I noticed about the so-called definition of the man's semen, it doesn't have anything to follow that. It just says a man's semen. That's not really telling us anything. And a man's semen isn't dominant in other women. Just look at Patrick Mahomes. His father's black, his father's dark skin. And what dominated was the genes of the white woman. You get that off the screen, Dan.
Oh, okay.
Well, most seeds do. Most seeds do. Most seeds' primary function is to reproduce what created it. Funny though, mango seeds. He talked about mango seeds. So seeds don't grow into other mangoes? So let's get back to this seed thing with the man's sperm. Is man's sperm truly a seed? If it is, it'll be the first seed I've ever seen that's completely comprised of liquid. I've never seen a seed comprised of liquid, complete liquid. I've never even known a seed to be in liquid form at all. But then again, we are talking about humans, right? Funny how we just keep ignoring science. We want to go by whatever guys say because they read some book from Elijah Muhammad or some street scholar told them some old wild shit. Or some dude is walking around tripping on the ego talking about the man seed is dominant. But we have science to tell you that women already have seeds in their body. They're called eggs. And those eggs are alive already. Even an unfertilized egg has a heartbeat. And we have science to back that up. That is why they graft to get an exact replica of the parents. Here we go with that grafting word again. Here we go with this Yakub shit. You guys got to stop believing in fairy tales and never-ending stories. Pretty soon you're going to be telling me that you've seen Dumbo flying around. Pretty soon you're going to be telling me you see somebody riding around on a giant dog. You guys need to start getting into reality and start researching what you actually see with your own eyes. Now, what do you see with your own eyes? You see women giving birth to children. Do you see men giving birth to children? Dame,
Yes.
have you ever seen a man give birth to a child?
No.
Okay, so if you've never seen a man give birth to a child, then how can you challenge anything about a woman? Well, that all has to depend. That all depends on the soil that they're in, and it all depends on the upkeep as well. Maybe mango seeds need a little bit more upkeep in order to grow properly into another mango. If they just fall vicariously to the ground and mate with whatever soil is there. They may not be getting the full nutrients that they need, and that's probably why they don't grow into other mangoes. Okay, but I'm not going to make this a discussion about a mango. My point is very clear. You need to start paying attention to what you see and research what you see. Now, I find it very, very interesting that many of you have never seen a man give birth to a child, but yet you're questioning women and you're challenging women on what is what and who is who when it comes down to giving birth to children. I don't understand how that is. Okay, so I guess the moral of that story is that some seeds are weaker than others. Anyway, I'm not really interested in that conversation because it doesn't deter what I'm talking about the man seed. So you've never seen a man give birth to anything, but yet you question what the woman's body is doing. Even though science is in your face telling you that the woman's body does A, B, C, and D, you still believe that the man has some kind of active role in a woman's pregnancy other than just fertilization. And she wouldn't even need that if her body wasn't malfunctioning. I mean, many of us are lucky that we're needed at all. You have no idea how close we are to not even being needed by the black woman because you don't understand her science. Many of you go around here, you study a bunch of bullshit, right? But you don't study the science behind the black woman. Oh, you'll study books written by niggas who hate women. You'll study books written about far off science and have your ass wandering in the fucking wild blue yonder, thinking that your knowledge of self come from halfway across the world where you have no DNA or no biological anything in, right? Some of you read books that tell you that the sun just picks up one day and takes a walk around the Milky Way. But you don't read any books on the science behind the black woman and the science of her body, the science of the womb. You don't know anything about those things. And so when someone comes along and tells you, hey, listen, man, your sperm really doesn't do anything but fertilize. After that, it has nothing to do with nothing else. Nah, the black man seed. Nah, man. You know, doesn't work that way. The woman's body is a masterful piece of work, and I'm telling you right now, according if you really understood the science behind the black woman, you'd be lucky that we're needed at all. I'm telling you right now, we're just a hair away from not being needed at all for procreation. There's only one small reason why she needs us for procreation. Her body is actually malfunctioning. Many of y'all don't know that because you don't know anything about her. But her body is actually malfunctioning. And one of the biggest malfunctions that she has is her menstrual cycle. That's a malfunction. That's not supposed to be happening. The black woman is actually weaker and sicker today than she ever was before. She's not even at 100% health, nor is she at 100% strength. The woman that you see right now walking around here every day that you call a black woman is not even at 100%. Her body is not operating at 100%. It's not hitting on all cylinders. If it were, then we wouldn't be needed for procreation. And I need to know something else too, right? You need to tell me how you got here before the black woman. Make this make sense to me. She give birth to you, and you can't give birth to anyone, but yet somehow you got here before her and gave birth to her. Somebody explain that to me too. When you come up here, if you're brave enough to come up here, I need answers on that too. I don't want to hear nothing about no Adam and Eve and somebody fell asleep and a rib was taken out and miraculously or what. Man, miss me with all that. I don't want garbage up here. I need real cold, hard facts, scientific, biological facts. Who you, the man, right? There's nothing in your body that can give birth to anything. There's nothing in your body that can produce feminine energy at all. Even the feminine energy in your body was given to you. And you can't reproduce that. So I'm going to need you to tell me in some kind of scientific and biological facts that I can go look up and study and compare notes how you got here before the black woman, gave birth to her, and now you can no longer do that and she gives birth to you. You need to make that make sense to me. See, you ignoramuses run around here listening to this dumb shit from these conscious niggas, these 5%ers, and this NOI, and they got you thinking like a dumbass. You read tainted books with stories all mixed up and jumbled up, and you walk around here and believe it, even though your eyes are telling you something clearly different. Even though your common sense is telling you something clearly different, you said, the hell with all of that. I'm going to believe these dumb niggas over here who said that man came before woman. Now, let me tell you one of the explanations I heard from the manosphere, which I thought was hilarious. He said that the woman needed protection. So the man had to come here first in order to protect the woman. So that's how man got here first. He came here to protect the woman so the woman can give birth to children. So the men who came here those men who came here to protect the women didn't have mothers. They just came out of nowhere. I asked them, I said, okay, so where did those men come from? They came from existence. So you're talking about some men who came here with no mothers. These men had no mothers. And they were here first to protect the woman. And they gave birth to the woman to protect her. Now, the ensuing question after that was, okay, who gave birth? How did that even happen? Who was there saying, push? Where was the mid mother? Who was the midwife or the mid husband? Did he go into labor for a couple of days? I mean, I don't understand. I'll tell you why it's hard to I'll tell you why it's hard, because you have too many men who believe in stupid things and they engage in stupid gender wars, and they don't want to spiritually connect with their women because they don't want to find out what their real purpose is. And it's easier to believe in drama. A lot of people just want drama. If you ain't shitting on somebody, people don't want to hear it. So it's better to just talk shit about the black woman than to actually believe the truth about her. Now, I know all of these truths, right? I know that you can't create a black child without the black mother. You can't have a black family without the black woman. Now, you even had some dudes talking about, well, the black woman can't survive without us. Whoa, whoa, loco, man. You need to watch what you say. If I were to tell you that she was here before you and she'll be here after you, would you believe it? Probably not. Exactly. I would have big numbers if I was sitting up here talking crazy about black women. But I love black women. And I'm not going to talk crazy about them. I'm going to tell you the truth about them, though, what I've learned. I learned that you can't have nothing or do anything without them. And you have no purpose without them. The only thing that's going to afford you the correct relationship with the black woman is spirituality and love. No other union is going to work. You can live in one house, she can live in the other, y'all can be separate. That's not going to work. That's not love. Any kind of separation isn't love. That's some kind of arrangement. So if you're looking to get the maximum potential out of your relationship with the black woman and the black man, you need to love each other. Y'all have to be spiritually connected. There's no other way. Other than that, everything else is just an arrangement. The problem is a lot of y'all walk around here with these arrangements and you're calling it love. Don't blame that on love. That ain't got nothing to do with love. Love isn't an arrangement. Well, I beg to differ. We are better living together if you have the right love and the spiritual connection. Yeah, then you're better living together. But if you can't love it, you see, a lot of y'all can't love. A lot of y'all don't believe in love. A lot of y'all are afraid of love. You think people have told you that emotions are bad. People have told you things like, what's love got to do with it? And you've gotten caught up in all of this propaganda. And so you don't trust love. You don't believe in love. That's why you don't have it. That's why you don't have it. You don't believe in it. You don't trust it. And then people lie on love, right? When somebody gets hurt, you see, love did that. Love did this. Love me. Nah, love didn't do that. If a person hurts another person, love had nothing to do with that. Love isn't violent. Love isn't bad. Love isn't evil. Exactly. So separatism isn't going to work. A prenuptial agreement isn't going to work. A business arrangement isn't going to work. The only thing that's going to work between a black man and a black woman is spiritual love. That's it. You need to be, as a black man, spiritually connected to her, and you need to love her. This will unleash her love for you, and this will also unleash your full potential as a man. Nothing else is going to happen. You can sit around here, talk all of this fake knowledge shit about the sun, the moon, and stars, and listen to crazy ass people who don't have any good relationship. How do you listen? This is what I don't understand about some of you, right? I watch some of these podcasts, okay, and I sit back and I listen to people who don't have a clue about relationships, can't have a decent relationship, don't have a decent relationship, right? And I listen to other people follow that person. I've seen people on here, both men and women, who can't sustain shit in a relationship. You got some sisters out here who can't keep a man for nothing. And you got some brothers out here who can't keep a woman for nothing, but yet they got large followings. Why are you listening to people who can't even do something as simple as have a basic relationship with the opposite sex? And people sitting up here talking all this shit. Like, hey man, you in a relationship? Nah, man, I'm free right now. I'm done with sisters. That's an excuse. But nigga tell you he done with sisters and he free. That's an excuse. He can't maintain a relationship with the woman. That is the truth. I don't listen to some naga who can't keep a girlfriend or a woman. He has nothing to say to me. I can't speak for you women, but as a man, I'm not going to listen to no guy who can't keep a woman. We have nothing to talk about. There's nothing to listen to. That's why you're a fool if you follow Kevin Samuels. Alpha male strategies. These guys are lying to you. They can't get any black women. They can't sustain a relationship with a black woman. These guys are broken. They don't know how to love a black woman. That's why they can't stay in a relationship with one. That's why they sitting here and telling you crazy shit about, Kevin Samuels just saying men should start advocating for being with other men. So he done just tapped out. He's so unlucky with women. He done tapped out. And you got that gay alpha male strategies. He almost there too. You got Alan Roger Curry. Well, at least he stopped wearing makeup. I guess that must have happened when he got married. And she told him to quit with the makeup. So you have to be able to spiritually connect to your woman. Yeah, you're following guys who can't get a woman. And I sit back and I watch these podcasts. And I watch thousands of people go in this chat room and then come out and regurgitate their talking points. You got a woman teaching separation, right? Because she can't spiritually connect with her husband. She can't spiritually connect with her man. She can't maintain a relationship because there's something inherently wrong with her that's not jiving with the men in her life. So instead of her looking at herself and trying to improve on herself, it's easier to blame it on men. Vice versa. You got guys who are completely effed up. There's something wrong with them. Every woman that comes into their life is messed up. They can't maintain a relationship. Then women don't want to be with them. So it's easier to blame women rather than for them to fix themselves. And then they come out and they tell you all kinds of crazy shit like, well, you know what? You should live in a car and your woman should live, in a grocery store. And y'all have a better relationship that way. Now, what's funny about that is I'm not tripping on what's being said. I'm tripping on what's being understood and heard and followed. Like, how are you following something like that? Do you even understand what a relationship is all about? Maybe many of you need to educate yourself on what a real relationship is and what it takes to be in a real marriage, a real, solid relationship. Some of you have absolutely no clue. You understand? Some of you have absolutely no understanding of relationships, and you listen to other people who've tried their luck in relationships and have failed miserably in relationships, and now they're on social media barking about the opposite sex, and you don't attach yourself to it because you don't know anything about relationship either. So you running around here parroting their talking points. If a man, check this out, if a man had 20 relationships by the time he's 30 years old, and every last one of them has failed, what can he tell you about a relationship other than how to fail? If a woman done had 20 relationships by the time she's 30, and every last one of them has failed, what can she possibly tell you about a relationship other than failure? Neither one of these people know or understand success in a relationship. So why are you listening to either one of them? Yeah, you see, this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. Let me highlight this comment. Okay. People in the past had need based on relationships. Relationships lasted out of need, not love, and things have changed. The old way was not as great as we um, romanticize. Interesting. I wonder how old this person is that's saying that. Do you mind revealing your age? That's a very, very interesting comment. And you see, and this is what's wrong with us right now, talking about things that we don't know anything about. This is our problem. Believing things that we have no understanding or clue if it's true or not. So, okay, you're 47 years old. And so you actually believe that in the old days, relationships were based out of need. Okay, so what you're telling me is that relationships are only formed because there is a need. A need for what? Let's start there. And so you're saying that people never loved each other. They just got together, didn't like each other, didn't love each other. Hey, you know what? I need you to sew and cook for my children. Let's get married. I'm 54. So let's break this down. So a man went to a woman and said, "Hey, Rosie, I need you to cook and clean my house. Now I want to marry you. I ain't gonna love you, but I need you to cook and clean my house." And Rosa says, uh, "Rolo, I've been mighty happy to cook and clean your house since you has a needing for a woman to cook and clean. And I don't want no love either, Rolo. Don't let me catch you loving on me while I was cooking and cleaning in your house." Now, Delia, I got some kids by a former marriage. And my kids are running amok in my house, leaving the windows open and all, and not closing the doors and dirtying up the television. Delia, I need you to get my kids in order. I was gonna marry you and give you a place to stay, but I ain't gonna love you because I just need you to take care of my kids. What you say, Delia? Well, Clifford, I ain't doing nothing. I'm an old maid, and you came to me with this generous offer. I'll be mighty happy to serve your need and take care of your kids as long as eyes don't catch you loving's on me. And so you believe some retarded mess that relationships was based on need and that there was no love involved. Hmm. Well, if that's the way you want to see it, who am I to get in the way of your ignorance? I mean, the things that I hear today are just absolutely crazy. How can somebody 40 some years old actually believe something like that? See, when you believe something told to you like that, that tells me that you don't have common sense, nor do you have or display any signs of original thought. You can't really think for yourself. If somebody asked you to put two and two together, you would probably ask something like, well, what about the ones? If I put one and one together, wouldn't that make two? So shouldn't I put four ones together instead of two and two? It'd be quicker, right? Because the ones are smaller, right? I mean, yeah, and yeah, you know what? And then here we are in 2021, getting ready to be 2022. People are walking around talking about something. Well, relationships is based on needs and not love. So you're saying black people didn't love each other back then? Those strong families had no love in them. They were just all out of need. Okay, whatever floats your boat. I mean, if you believe that, then you couldn't possibly understand, what a relationship is. But hey, that's what you. Hey, but anyway, getting back to reality. Okay, we've had enough of the strange interruption there, but the relationship is about love. If you want a relationship, a real relationship with a woman, you need to spiritually connect to her. You need to love her. That's where you're going to get her fullest potential. And that's where you will learn your fullest potential and who you are. Because a woman gives you purpose. I talked about this before. If there were no women, you would have no purpose. And here's another thing, too, right? I don't romanticize the past, my brother or sister, whoever you are. And what kind of talk is that? Romanticize the past. The craziness of relationships of the past. You can't recognize no relationships of the past because the past you're talking about, you weren't there. You don't know what went on in those households. You don't know if those men and women loved each other or not. You have no clue. If you're talking about back in those days where they had shotgun weapons or whatever, you didn't know what went on with those women and men. You weren't there. All you can do is regurgitate. You have no clue. You weren't there. I don't talk about places where I haven't been. But I do have common sense. So my thing is that when you don't have love for your woman, right, it affects everything else. I keep trying to tell y'all, right, the black woman is love. If you cannot love her, you cannot love other things. Now, somebody be like, well, Max, what are you talking about? Well, the beginning of love begins with your mother. The first woman that you learn how to love and the first interpretation of love comes from your mother. So that is the beginning of your understanding of love. And through the love of your mother and learning how to love your mother, you learn how to love other people. Oh, Koja, how you doing? I didn't recognize your name. I've never seen your name before. Right, she was over here with this is the beautiful black woman I was talking to last night. No, I don't run. I don't recommend. But no, I don't. I don't romanticize the past. Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link. You can come on up, Koja, in a minute. How you doing? I didn't even recognize. I didn't recognize your name. But this is the beautiful black woman I was talking about in the beginning of the show, y'all. As I talked to her last night, as we went back and forth, she became more and more beautiful to me. And it was a joy listening to her talk, even though we had disagreements, you know. But I can feel that because I'm spiritually connected. But as I was saying, right, you learn all of this from your mother. So your mother is the first understanding and interpretation of love to you. And through that love and that understanding, you learn how to love all things, people. So if you cannot love the black woman, then you cannot love anything else. You couldn't possibly love your children. The men who don't take care of their children, who are crying about child support, they don't love black women. This is why they don't love their children. They don't love black women. So you say, well, what about the men who take care of their children and don't love the black woman? They love the black woman. That's why they take care of their children. Just because they're not together doesn't mean that love isn't present. Doesn't mean that there's no love in his heart for this woman. He loves this woman because this woman gave him beautiful children. And he loves his children, right? So the love to the children is connected to the mother that brought the children into the world. So trust me, even though they're not together, that love for her is in his heart. That's why he loves and takes care of those children. Because he loves the woman that brought those children into this world. And so before I open up the mic, and I'm about to drop it here in a minute because I'm very, very interested. And we got Koja in here, beautiful black woman. She's a bit much now. She can she wouldn't let me talk most of the time, but I really enjoy talking to her. She's a beautiful person. Once you get to understand her, um, I started to enjoy her towards the end there. It was a little rough in the beginning, man. We went round and round, but once things settled down between us, I really started to enjoy her company. She's a very, very beautiful person, and I would be honored if she came up on the panel today. Um, Now, what you were saying, what in the perfect world? Yeah, so you have to. Now, again, before I drop the mic, The panel is open, man. I still have a challenge out there, right? So those of y'all who missed the challenge, I open up the show and I put a challenge out there. I need somebody to come up here and explain to me how pimps and pimp culture is a positive influence on black culture. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need some facts and all that. Okay, I'm gonna need all of that. That's one. Two. The second thing I need somebody to do is to come up here and explain to me how does a black man have or create a black child without a black mother? Because all of the evidence and research that I haven't done and the science that I've read and studied tells me that that is a biological and scientific impossibility. So if you're coming up here to challenge that, I'm definitely all ears because I want to see how you get around those biological and scientific impossibilities. You need to come up here and explain to me how does a black man create a black child without a black mother? And here are some warnings. I don't come up here with no three the hard way Richard Roundtree shit. I don't want to hear it. I need cold hard facts. I don't want to hear nothing about no Nation of Islam, no Yaqub, the sun, the moon, the stars, any kind of psychedelic or higher states of consciousness shit. I don't want to hear none of that. I need cold, hard hitting facts that's going to negate the biological and scientific impossibilities that I've come to understand when it comes to a black man having a black child without a black mother. Okay? And with that being said, Dane, drop that gangster link. Get ready to open up the panel, y'all. Yeah, I agree with that, Koja. I agree with that. Hey, what's up, pretty black man? Y'all killing me with these names, man. Pretty black magic kills nappy headed ape trolls. What's up, pretty black magic woman? Long time no see. Well, we didn't. We're not talking about a black woman making a black child and a black father. Black women never contested that, but black men are contesting that they can have black children without a black mother. See, black women aren't going around here talking about they can have black children without a black father. They're not doing that. But black men are running around here hard in the mud talking about they can have black children without a black mother. You even got some fool talking about he can make Becky's baby black. I would like to know how he can make Becky's baby black without their black mother. So I need one of you scientific, supernatural street Negroes with all this so-called higher state of consciousness shit to come up here and drop that on me. All right? I need all that.
All right, here's Koja.
Hey, Koja, how are you?
Good
How you doing,
morning
sweetheart?
again.
Good morning.
Did you get some rest? Are you still up from last night?
No, I did get some. I just woke up like about an hour ago.
No, you're a night shift worker.
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pimpology and the Bible and religion is all the same. Hell, pimpology came out, or they learned from the Bible, one or the other, chicken or egg. I don't know exactly which one, but they both the same.
Mm-hmm.
And black women hurt black men. I can only speak from a woman perspective and around women. So I'm not going to know the other side of the coin, only the little bit of experience, because I mostly hang with women. So I'm not going to say I know everything about men or whatever. But it seems like we understood the aside. We heard black men. We heard them say we not feminine. We got
Mm-hmm.
weaves. We too masculine. We heard them and we would just say, okay. And it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy what I hear in these YouTube streets. Last Sunday, I hear the excuse about how welfare took black men out the home. Last Sunday, I was at the Walmart between 8:30 and 9:30. Them Spanish men was lined up. They ain't in the home. They ain't even in the same country. Them immigrants lined up sending money home. And another busload of them came by when I was leaving the Walmart. But we got
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of excuses. The past wasn't all butterflies and unicorns and rainbows. Black relationships in general across the board were not
Hold on
everything we imagine them
one
to
second,
be.
Culture. 1 second. Hey, Kendall, right? Why don't you explain that, man? Like, call in or something. I need you to explain that. You said pimp culture ain't all bad, depending on the perspective. Okay, because
If you
from where I
ain't giving
stand,
up your coochie in your mouth,
yeah,
in your butt, and you ain't
uh,
keeping the money, I'm sure it's not all bad. It's not all bad to the person who getting the cut off the top and ain't doing the work. I'm sure it works very well for that person. But I would
wow,
say that it's bad for women and the workers who don't get to keep all their money. Now, I ain't against sex work, but if I'ma sell my coochie, my booty, my mouth, and any other orifice, I'm gonna keep all of my money.
wow, you said it ain't all bad. That's crazy. Wow, explain that,
Well,
bro.
see, this the whole thing when they were talking about winter was coming for women and
Mm-hmm.
OnlyFans was getting finna get shut down. See, men,
Mm-hmm.
women have grace, and
Mm-hmm.
we know we allowed black men to talk about how black women was with massa and all this and that, but we had grace, and we didn't talk about how massa was with black men because we was having grace and protecting their masculinity and not wanting to engage in that. But they get up
Uh-huh.
here and they choose violence every time, and they make us go there. They make us take that grace from them. And he can go and engage in pimp culture because the reality is the hard-heartedness of some men. They will sell little boys just as well as they will sell little girls. But I challenge him to sell his booty to the highest bidder, his mouth to the highest bidder, and give his money away, and then tell me about pimp culture ain't bad. You tell me when he have his foot on his neck, because I worked in the prison. So them same men who talking about pimp culture ain't bad. I challenge them to go into the prison and then come back and tell me how pimp culture is when they pimping other men out in there for a sandwich and some oodles of
Yeah,
noodles and some cup of noodles.
yeah. I'm still trying. Yo, dude, can you answer that, man? Like, what do you mean it's not all bad? I mean, that's the craziest thing I've heard in quite some time. Pimp culture isn't all bad. Explain yourself, man. I need to hear that. You see, you guys, y'all, y'all say these things and y'all running hard, and you don't want to represent yourself when you say these kinds of crazy things. I'm starting to think that you're just trolling. Saying something crazy like that. Pimp culture isn't all bad. What's good about it, bro?
Because they see what this internet does, it allow people to actually speak the hard-heartedness of their heart, because there is a generation of when you see human trafficking, for the most part, those are little girls and little boys that were already violated in their youth. And you will have men
Hmm.
that are not men who don't want to work, who will continue that so they can work and live off the expense of others' pain and say it ain't bad because they don't want to hold their own, they don't want to be men, and they don't want to work. They want to take advantage and put their
Hmm.
foot on the neck and be parasites and benefit at the expense of others. And they aren't men, they are pimps. And that's the over romanticization of past that we don't talk about. And
And
then
so
because
I,
he got a pair of balls, he'll say he is a man, but he is the worst of society.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I can't figure out what the hell is he talking about. Talking about pimp culture isn't all bad. Dude, where you at, man? What you're gonna type something? You're gonna say something?
We see the
I'm
femininity
dying.
of pimps. We see the femininity of
Oh yeah,
pimps.
oh yeah, oh
We
yeah, oh
see
yeah. I
it.
talked
So
about
when you
that. I
talk
talked
about
about
them
that.
pimps, we know
Uh huh.
pimps ain't them, but they don't even really like women because they want to be women. That's why they could beat them so much because they
Uh
can't
huh.
spread their pussy and tussie roll in public like they want to. But we see the
It's
femininity of
like,
pimps. We see you.
it's like,
We see you.
okay, hey Dave, put a picture. Hey Dave, you got that picture of Iceberg Slim?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, throw that back up on the screen for a minute. Yo, I want y'all to see who dudes glorify. You know what I'm saying? Look at this dude, man.
Oh, he's so he.
He,
I see him and now his
uh,
femininity.
yeah, he's glorified.
He condemn our femininity because he mad, but we see their femininity and we want to act like, oh, that's swag. That ain't swag. Because what I do respect about the LGBTQ, the ones who ain't on the down low is they hold their own dicks and they securing their stuff. It's these wannabe DL that's in the invisible closet. Because black women, we like us some gay men. We like to hang with them. I
Okay,
like
now
gay
check this out.
men. They is
There go
our
another
sisters,
one.
them our sisters or brothers or high, whatever pronoun we want to. So we like hanging
Okay,
with them, but we see you.
hey, culture. Here's another one. Check this one out, right? This one coming from a guy. I don't know who this is. BIA 2377 says, I understand what he's saying. A psychopath has no empathy. Hmm.
Exactly what we discussed last night. Remember we were saying the
Hmm.
lack of empathy,
Right.
and some of these men was violated themselves, and they wasn't able to, or they was brought up in a household where they saw something, and they say I could either choose to be the abuser or the abusee. They chose to
Hmm.
perpetuate that, and just like holidays and certain rituals get passed down, we don't want to acknowledge the bad stuff that gets passed down. And we envy the oppressor. We choose many of their ways. And a lot of times we don't want to be that victim. So if we're put in a position where we could be the victimizer, they choose to be the victimizer.
Okay, Kendall is clearing it up. He says, I'm sorry, let me make myself clear. I'm not talking about pimping women. The same methods that pimps use to control women can be applied to all areas of life.
Yeah, it's in the church too. Them church hoes and them church pimps called preachers. We see it. We see it.
Right.
We very
I
aware
still,
that
right.
polygamy they talk about, that's pimp culture. We see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how he doesn't believe that that's bad, though. Because what's going on in the church is bad. What's going on anywhere where you have this kind of influence is bad. There's nothing good coming from this type of culture. You
It's
even have it right now,
unfair.
right? You even have it right now in the youth, to where they done said the hell with women altogether. They pimping each other out.
Because
You got a little
people
not.
envy
Uh huh.
the oppressor and they are choosing their ways because men don't, and society does not stand up, and people do not want to be perceived as weak. If they were bullied, they want their children to be the bully because they don't want their children to go through that. So they do the best they can. So my child won't be there. Or if they get in a position where now they're strong, they say, this was done to me and I lack empathy. And if I survive, they can survive. And now I'm going to be on top. Now I'm going to be the one who take advantage of people. And that is the world that we live in because it's cool to be cruel. The mean girl, mean boy concept is alive and well, and the bullying. We see it every day. It is a sign of weakness to exhibit empathy and love. You will be ate up and spit out. What they say, be not of this world or transformed or whatever that thing is about it. I can't remember the right one, but we become of the world because of our experiences. And, it continues. Ain't nothing new under the sun. All this stuff been being done for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. It's not new.
All right.
Hello?
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's
Um,
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
but so the if the world's taking a mentality to abuse or be abused, um, that is sad. But I have seen certain levels of it with the kids in school. I've had boys tell me that their mother said if a girl mess with them, if she hits him, they hit her back. And I grew up where uh, the boys didn't hit the girls, and the girls pretty much didn't hit the boys because pretty much we're told not to hit boys because um you don't want to put the boy in a position of hitting back. You keep picking, because the thing is, you keep picking at somebody, picking at, they're gonna strike back regardless.
I tell my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
do not jump out your place and put your hands on a man. And I've told my sons, do not hit a woman. There was time when there was little girls that have hit them, but my son, and I one time I wanted to tell my son, hit her back. But my son, he like, Mom, I can't hit no girl. But I was mad because this girl, because at that age, they were actually at the same strength level. And the one
Mm-hmm.
say, that girl hit my baby. And he like, no, Mom, I can't hit no girl.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he would have kept that message, but somewhere it got confused. But
Mm-hmm.
I teach my daughter not to hit me and not to jump out their place. I don't put my hand on man. I'm not a fighter, so I never understood that fighting spirit. But I don't put my hands on men because I wholeheartedly expect if I put my hand on a man that he gonna lay hands on me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of it is taught to us because um okay, I was jumped on by a boy. Well, he wasn't out like punching me or anything. He was hitting me. He wouldn't leave me alone. He was like harassing me. And my uncle, who's a few years older than me, happened to see him when I was supposed to be. I couldn't avoid him because I was supposed to be going to my grandparents, and I have to go the same way this boy had to. And I was like running from him. And my uncle saw it, jumped out of the bus, jumped off the back of the bus, and went beating on the boy. But the adults who didn't see what was going on earlier, because he had a higher view because he was on the bus, all they saw was a bigger boy beating up on a little boy. So my uncles and my grandfather, my great uncles was teaching me how to fight back because their belief was if a man strike you, he's a no good man, a no good boy, and you strike back in any way you can because they can't always be there, you know. And my
And
uncle was getting flack because all the adults saw was this older boy beating up on this little boy. Didn't see that same little boy who's a little older than me beating up on me.
and
And so,
we
mm-hmm,
have lived through that.
mm-hmm,
Blight Cornelius. Yeah, and I used to have to walk from school because it was different back in the day when you had to walk from school. If you was less than 2 miles from the school, you had to walk. Now 2 miles could
exactly.
be a good little distance.
Mm-hmm,
And so Blight Cornelius would bother me. My mama went to his mama. His mama was kind of a street woman. And she
mm-hmm,
ain't had no problem with Blight Cornelius bothering me. Till I
mm-hmm,
stab Blight Cornelius in the chest with a pencil. Then she want to have a problem.
mm-hmm,
But we live in a culture where sometimes people don't want to put down on their children they raised with different values or different things, and they don't see the whole story play out, and where it
mm-hmm,
was okay for men to hit women, because some people say it's okay for men to hit women if she step out of her place, if she too mouthy, if she too this or that. And that's why you see the highest, from what I understand, they say according to the highest number of gun sales is among Black women. And I know I got to go get me gun. I got one, but I know I got to go get my concealed weapons license and really become proficient in it. And it's sad that
mm-hmm,
Black women are, and I'm not gonna even say it's a Black woman thing. It's historically a woman thing because
mm-hmm,
women were smaller. That we now have the ability to protect ourselves somewhat, and we see that we have gotten the message. We understood the assignment, and we have to arm ourselves to protect ourselves because they could say what they. I'll tell people to go to Black Girls Tragic. It is a website. They say it's a woman killed every day. And when you statistically look up the statistics, if men are killing men, shouldn't women be killing women? But when you go to women murders, statistically 90 something percent of the women murder are murdered by men.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Shouldn't women, we fight with each other, shouldn't we be murdering each other? And I ain't even talking about the assaults and all of that other stuff, but the highest number of murders of women should not be men.
Mm-hmm.
So that confirms we have to protect ourselves. You know, when the statistics are gone for men, a woman killing a man is an exception to the rule. The
Mm-hmm.
majority of men are killed by other men. So women have had a problem in this world for a long time, and we still have a problem. And some men justify, oh, she stepped out of her role as a woman. Oh, she too mouthy. She too this, she too that. And it's forcing us to function in a way of protection. We've seen what happened, and we've seen that sometimes we got to protect ourselves. And now there's machinery and technology that enables us to do it. And we will do it because the past have taught us that we are not protected.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what's the
Because most of that that's being taught is by the male in the family. Okay, my grandfather. I think the tipping point was his sister getting killed by her husband. So when my mom was going away to college, she gave her brass knuckles and a switchblade. He taught me to how to throw a punch and the vulnerable spots on a man. Even the one that, for years I was being taught you don't hit no man there. You can kill him, you can kill him. And my grandfather's like, he deserves what he get. If he's messing with you, he deserves what he get. You kick him where it hurts, and you make sure he's down and you run and get away from him. But make sure he's down. Cause he ain't down, he can still get you. Don't turn your back. He taught my mom how to shoot. Take apart a pistol and put it back together. In fact, that's how that was a little hustle for her for a while. You know, a race to put a pistol together and who's could do the fastest.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
great skill set. I wish, because there really were no men in my family. But it speaks to women don't have to say a bad word about men, because men who have family that are men and love their women in their family are telling them and confirming to them the nature of the majority of men.
Mm-hmm.
And when you adapt to your surroundings, it's not called being hard, it's called surviving. And women have been taught to survive and adapt. And we've adapted. And within that adapting, they call us masculine. They call us this. It's a cold world out here for women. And, America is better. It's better. But there's a history. And even men were taken advantage of by other men. And we ain't going to talk about that. But there's a history of the strong praying and eating off the weak. And pimp culture is an example of that.
Yeah.
And the men who perpetuate that, it really sends red flags to them. I don't support if somebody want to sell their vagina for themselves, that's their life, that's what they want to do. I'm not no judge and jury over that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will raise my daughter to be able to financially support herself and to be dependent upon herself. Now, if you get a husband or whatever, that's a different role, but to always be able to feed yourself. And I'm a product of a single mother. Like I tell people, my mama go reach back and put her hand on $100,000 and $150,000, her house paid for, her car paid for.
Mm-hmm.
She raised 5 daughters and she has no debt. And I've heard women who say they had daddies in the home and they have been hungry. I ain't never been hungry in my mama's house.
Mm-hmm.
But then they'll turn around and criticize the way I was brought up. I ain't never been homeless or whatever. I don't know what the femininity that sounds like dependency some of these men teach, because they want women to be dependent and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't preach that I am better than a man or anything like that, but I definitely believe in holding your own and being able to feed yourself.
Yeah.
And if that make
And
other men, if that make men feel less needed, or like we're too masculine to be able to take care of yourself, then I question their motives, and they're sending red flags out to me.
oh yeah, yeah, and they keep trying to define femininity. Like some of the definitions of they have a femininity. Um, the is this the outside trappings of femininity that they describe and stuff like that. And I've seen women who done that. I grew up with them. Some of them had taught me. Uh, those are not no meek women. Submissive women that they're talking about. I'm like, I don't know if it's because they so blinded by the outside trappings or the manners and stuff like that. They
That
don't see the other side of it. I don't know if it's because they men or boys or whatever, and they got like a little filter so they don't see the other side. Yeah,
they
especially
get the
when.
wolf in sheep's clothing. They
Mhm,
get the facade because they don't look past the exterior. They
mhm,
looking with beauty. They looking at certain words. And I ain't got nothing against that. I
mhm,
mean, Delilah, but that's a good example. And that's what they're looking with. And that is their superficial definition of femininity.
femininity,
So
yeah.
when you don't look deep, you get that. And if that's what you desire, say that's what you desire. That's what your
Uh-huh.
penis like. Get that.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
then accept what you get and what you leave. I don't over romanticize the past, because I have seen those, that daddy that got a family over here and two or three families over there, that the children in the same grade, just me and their sister and brother, but there's three children in the same grade, got the same daddy but different mamas.
mhm, mhm,
So and he might be married to one of them. I seen the man who was supposed to be she married, she whole married, but guess what? She always worked two jobs. Why? Why you working two jobs if you got a whole husband in the house?
uh-huh.
Cause he's spending his money around town and no women holding down the house. So no, I'm never gonna over romanticize the past. Yes, I seen the family
Yeah,
growing up what we could
it-
see back in the day. All of them had cars because their daddy worked at the car lot. All of them dressed good. But daddy was messing with them too, with his girls. And daddy had women all across town. And when daddy came home and mama had his clothes ironed and the food ready and he didn't like what's on the table, he turned the table over. But we'll romanticize that, oh, they live in a home. Oh, they all got nice cars. All they dress good. Because we look at the facade and not the actual thing. So I don't, and a lot of them women of old, when you see, I see an old couple,
mhm,
marriage is hard. I don't say they had unicorn and rainbows. I said what they had to do to get here. And if they really had to tell the true stories about how he cheated, how she cheated, how they was fighting and fussing and stuff, we would not have the rose-colored view glasses of what marriage is.
mhm.
And we really don't really look at what those people went through right now, because we, number one, are kids looking through kids' eyes. But when we get to be adults, like, oh, my people been together for 35 years. They've been fussing and fighting and cutting on each other for 40 years,
Yeah.
but they
Oh yeah.
still together.
Hmm. And then my aunt, okay, my aunt, she's a baby boomer, but she's of the one of the oldest sets of baby boomers. My mom's like the younger or one of the last of the baby boomers. Anyway, um, we was talking because they keep saying about 80% of the marriages back then and stuff like that. And what was the turnaround, what was going on with the baby boomers, the women and the baby boomers that changed around. My aunt said her mom instilled in her, to go to college, to get a good job, save your money so you don't become dependent on a man, that if he ain't right, you can leave and be able to take care of yourself or any children y'all might have.
If
That
I'm gonna tell you this here,
you're not stuck with a man because of survival. You know.
if it wasn't broke, we wouldn't be fixing it. If the old deal was so good, our
Mhm,
grandmas and great grandmas wouldn't have been telling their children different. If the
mhm,
old deal was so good, we'd still be wanting it. It's because it was not a good deal, and we want a new deal. Because if
mhm,
it was so good, and they talk about the divorce rates, let's get it straight. All those couples that were together back then were not all married to each other. Some, because black people couldn't afford divorces like then. I don't know. I'm from the South,
mhm,
so I don't know
mhm.
what they was doing up in the North, but in the South,
Uh-huh.
those men just left and went to other women, and they had been together so long, people assumed they was married. You know, when the next generation of children came on, like my auntie Annie. All the thing I knew growing up was Annie and Shorty. Hell, when Shorty died, Shorty had been married to a whole nother woman in a whole nother lifetime before he met my auntie Amy and before I was ever born.
Mhm,
So we over romanticized the past. Men got up, they left, and my my husband, he talked about his grandma who raised him and how she had been broke up with her husband for years, and finally one day he decided to divorce her because she actually wanted to get married. But the people had been married on paper 30, 40 years.
mhm.
But they were still married on paper, but they weren't together. And that's what I'm saying when I say we over romanticize stuff and we look through children's eyes and we don't see the adult things. But if you really go back and examine it, you can see it. And you on TikTok, it was this old lady standing at the graveside with her children. And the
Mhm.
dad had been dead for years. And the grandma or the mama saying, I love him, but he loved whoever. He loved her best. And that was the wife standing there. The husband had been dead for years. And you know how she was the wife. But to be able to sit there and stand there and say that he didn't really love me. He loved what's her name best. And that's what a lot of people dealt with when they be romanticizing their relationship. Yeah, we was married on paper, but my lights was off in my house, but his girlfriend lights was on across town.
Yeah, yeah.
So, well, so I ain't mean to take over his panel or anything like that,
Oh
but
no, no, that's okay. He had to deal with something. He's like, let us go ahead and have a talk. But yeah, I understand. About romanticizing the past because my grandfather wasn't perfect, but I loved him, and I made excuses, or until some facts was pointed out to him. It's like, you know and I fussed at him. My parents, my mom, my aunts, and stuff like that, they were surprised my grandfather even answered my question because I'm like 10 and 12-year old, and not only am I asking my grandfather questions, answering, I'm chastising him about the choices he made and fussing at him, if he implied that, hey, my grandmother could have cheated too, and fussing at him, and it's like what first of all, they were surprised that he answered my question and that I was having these conversations with my grandfather. Well, I was his first grandchild. Okay, I'm gonna let's put it out there. My grandfather loved women.
mm-hmm.
Grandfather loved a little girl, not little
Yeah,
girls
women
in the
loved
country,
him.
yes, but they could little girls could wrap him around their finger, and I was his first grandbaby and stuff like that. Don't get it mixed up. My grandfather wasn't a pedophile. It's just that he adored women and females and girls, and so they can wrap around the little finger. They can get things from them that no boys can get. Like, oh, you better go to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he is with boys. Go to work. What kind of work you gonna do for me to get this money? My uncles and them had to work for their money. Even but I had but yeah. So I guess I was his first, so he was being honest with me and stuff like that. I was asking him these questions, why you married? My biological grandmother died fairly young, so my mom was young, so he got married again. So the grandmother I grew up with, I knew that because some things she said, so it emphasized. What made him choose my grandmother? When my grandmother died, what made him choose the grandmother I grew up with?
Mm-hmm.
And why did he choose one of these other women? Because he had children with them. And he was like, well, I can't marry them. They're married already. I was like, what? I was like,
Yes.
he said, well, he didn't plan to get married. He didn't want to get married. And he said he would go out with women whose men were in prison. I was like, that is so wrong. How'd you like it if my grandmother did that to you? And he went off and went to uh daddy's baby. I mean mama's baby, daddy's maybe. I was like, what are you trying to say? You're trying to imply that and he's like, no, 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 no. He's I guess he was trying to excuse himself and it wasn't working. And I even
These
chastised him.
ancestral DNA gonna mess up a lot of families. There's a lot of cause
Oh,
all them men that had they laid their babies on somebody else, they don't had just as many laid on them. Cause so you can't, even
yeah,
swap ain't no swindle. They got
yeah,
as good as they gave, but
yeah.
boy, it
And over the years, it's like it's the women in the family that have to keep track of all the kids. Because I asked my grandfather, "Is this person really?" He said he'll be like, "Maybe, I think so." He just couldn't remember, it was boy or girl, stuff like that. It was like the last one we found out about, before he passed away.
women and
Okay.
men bring different things to the table that are important. It is the women that keep the tradition going, the family things going. Now we're getting in generations where the family not as close as they used to be. Like I knew a cousin was the best thing to me growing up because for a little while I was the only child.
Mm-hmm.
But families and women are not taking on those matriarchal duties. And as a matter of fact, you'll see some of the families being less and less together, less family get togethers, less Thanksgiving. And men tend to prioritize what they bring to this proverbial table and
Mm-hmm.
what women bring to the table. And they try to diminish the contributions of women without realizing they're different but equally important. Because without women, you would not have the home that you have. You would not have, because most men will sleep on the floor in a shoebox if it wasn't for women. It's that woman that say, hey, now we need a home. Hey, now we need, this and that. That's what women do, but they want to diminish that and say what they bring is more as an excuse to be dominant or to put women in the role of a child or whatever. And women saying, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not in survival mode. You give women access to birth control, education, and employment, and you will see she will choose a new deal every time because the old deal was not equitable or fair
Mm-hmm.
to women.
Yeah. And then each pass is different because I keep hearing about back in my grandfather's day, this and that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but back in grandfather's day, and the man turned over his whole paycheck to the wife. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Oh, you want to go back to them days? Okay, go back to them days when you turn over the whole paycheck to the wife. The house is in her name, not in your name, in her name. That's why it's always referred to grandma's house because he put it there because the wife tends to live longer than the husband. And it was more than likely she was going to be around and it was going to stay in the family.
I'm
You
gonna keep
know,
it 100. We know them old dirty men married children. We know
mhm,
they were barely legal women, or some of them weren't legal at all because the age differences. The why the men die is because there are significant age differences, and it was not thought of as a bad thing back then.
mhm, mhm.
That granddaddy could be 40 and grandma is like 25. So,
Yeah,
um,
but most of that usually happens to be the second wife. First wife, they're a little closer in age.
like, and depending on what part of the country you're from, like I hear about these mythological stay-at-home moms. I'm like, sir, I know not what you talk about, cause where I'm from, the women got up and went to the bean field just like the men went up and got to the bean field. The women went up the road and picked apples and oranges or whatever the hell they was picking and going up the road and down the state
Hmm.
doing. Sir, The men was on the in the cornfield pulling the corn, and the women was on the mule train packing the corn. So I know not these mythological stay at home moms. And even if you want to go up north to the Montgomery bus boycotts and all of that other stuff, where them white women was coming picking their maids up from the house, them black women, where is these mythological stay at home women that did not work? Because I know not what you talk of, and even the ones that did had so many children they couldn't go anywhere, still had side hustles. So I need to see this over romanticized past that you speak of, because I know not of those women.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The stay-at-home mom did not necessarily mean that she did not work, cause I sat with she was almost 100. She was 99 when she passed away. But even then, she said in the beginning of her marriage, her and her husband were close in age. You know, there was like maybe
mm-hmm,
a 5 year gap. He was like 21, she was like 16. In the beginning, they worked the field, they worked their land together, their land, you
mm-hmm,
know, and she helped out. He did the heavier work, and she did the lighter. As the kids came in, she was needed more home, you know,
mm-hmm.
because okay, now you're pregnant, you can't do all that heavier work when you did before the kid before you got pregnant, and no man was not going to let you do it. No good man was going to let you do it. So he might, you know, end up hiring a nephew or, you know, something like that. But she still worked. She had a garden. She may not have worked the bigger fields like he doing for money, but she did like a little garden, which fed the family, and any extra was extra money that was for the family.
And when you add up, are you okay? When
Now,
you add up all those small chores in time wise, they outnumber or equal to the little heavy lifting, because I do gardening and I tell my husband, play, hey, babe, come, because I'm doing container right now. Come mix this dirt up for me, because I got to mix the dirt, the perlite, the peat moss, and some fertilizer in there. Now, I do composted cow manure with topsoil, peat moss, and perlite. So those bags are 40 pounds. But so yeah, he lifts them and he like mixing up some dirt. And then I'm going shovel them into the other pots that in containers that I need. I'm the one planting the seeds. I'm the one coming out there harvesting. When my dragon fruit was growing crazy, I'm the one getting up in the middle of the night going cross pollinate. I'm the one up there cutting it down, washing it, and this and that. So yeah, they did, but it still be a lot. And they was like, well, I'm about there to do, yeah, you're doing the heavy lifting, but all the other 100 things that have to be done to get it, to turn that piece of wheat,
mm-hmm,
that's kernel of wheat into bread, the women doing. So do not diminish what they do. And I think that's the thing, is that it's not mutually respected. And
yeah,
when there's no mutual respect, it sets the ground for other stuff.
mm-hmm.
So
And
I always,
it also comes down to choosing the right woman. I don't know. I think some men were more aware of what the woman brought back in them days, because they look for women who could do all, could do those things, or is open to learning. Some things she knew because hey, she was her father's daughter and stuff like that, and some things her husband taught her, and yeah, but
can
he knew what her value was and stuff like that. He valued his wife and stuff like that.
But many of the men, that is a good man, but many of the men don't value women. Can I respond to Yvette W? It's a pimps can protect hoes from getting beat, robbed by John's knowledge to not get locked up. Pimps who are dysfunctional, have a drug habit, having. Understand this here. If I'm gonna sell my box, I don't mind paying for security. I might pay you 10%, but you're not finna get my 90 and give me 10. So I understand that pimps can perform. If they want to be security, they could be security. But I'm not selling my all three of my hoes and getting 10% while he take 90% and beat me in the meantime. No sir, no way. But I'm glad I ain't got to be no, no prostitute. I'm glad I ain't never had to be pushed to them extents, cause we all do some things to survive. But if he think he get to do none of just be standing at the room and at the door and get 90% while I get 10% in all the STIs and STDs. We ain't working it that way. But I pay him a survey. I pay him a security fee. But that's what he gonna get. You getting 15% of what I take in, and that's your security fee, and you better provide security. And that's all you getting. You ain't getting no coochie in the meantime. While I'm giving it up to him over here, I'm getting paid. You don't get to get it for free. Now, if you want to give me your 15% and we would renegotiate the contract, we can do that. But I was just
Yeah,
responding to the chat.
yeah. I think originally that's how it came about, cause something was looking up on which was the oldest profession. Somebody, it was like the prostitute or the pimp. Um and I think that's
The
how it
primitive.
initially started, something like that. Prostitution was older, but she needed protection. Like you were saying, robbed by the Johns, knowledge not to get locked. Well, a lot of those that was during them times when prostitution was legal. hmm Um, yeah, and sometime over the years, in centuries, it got twisted.
Patriarchy is a thing. And I know when I say that word, people say, oh, she a whole feminist. But if women really understood what women had to go through and children at the that were under the thumb of men that had no hearts, that were callous, that were anesthetized, that were predatory, then they would know. But all of this here stuff, women have never been in a position to run the world. So everything we got and everything that's done happen in this world have been at the hands of men. And
hmm
we just had to learn to play by the rules that men put in place. And sometimes we even cross other women up playing by male rules. But they set these rules in place because they were bigger and stronger. And only because they were bigger and stronger, not smarter, just stronger. And we had no choice. It was either beat or be killed. They were cavemen. They hit you over the head. And as a result, we learned to be in competition with other women out of survival and competition for dick or competition for provision. And they tell us patriarchy is good. I was like, black man, let me tell you something, black man. You could come to me and tell me I could exchange protection and provision for patriarchy. When you go to that white man and tell him I accept the modified patriarchy, when you tell that white man you'll accept the modified slavery, because that's really what they saying. They saying white man say, listen, nigga, we'll provide you food and shelter, not the best food and shelter, but we'll do this. And you agree for his provision, black man. And I may consider accepting protection and provision in exchange for a modified patriarch. But if you ain't willing to accept that for some white man, and then let me get it straight, because some of these black niggas out here will actually do that. We not accepting that because we don't have to. Now, if we get into survival mode and have to do some things because the hard-heartedness of men, then that's a different story. But right now, I ain't voluntarily going into that subjugation.
hmm
And I'm not going to be competing with other men, with other women for dick, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to view women in this hierarchical structure. You're either the virgin or the whore. And we supposed to not like each other while they going around spreading their dick in anything, because we're supposed to be in competition for their dick, when now we have the ability to provide for ourselves and we don't have to. So I'm not viewing no other woman as competition for dick. And I'm not viewing whatever a woman do with her box is her business. I just hope she get 100% of the profits.
hmm Okay, let me see. Um, Mama Ray says pimps offer nothing but abuse. If you choose to deal with a pimp, do you? And the sick way we see pimp is crazy. That's why our young girls and boys will forever be prey. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because we have lazy men who want to sit up and want women to bring, whether you call them a pimp or a preacher, their money to the table and give it to them. Now, they don't want to work. They want the easy way out, and they don't want to sacrifice. They want to be good. They want to be kept women. They want to be kept women, and they want the women to sell they whatever to make them kept women, and then they call that being men. And even to well, men do this. Men bill. When I need a house built, I gonna call a contractor, nigga. You don't know how to use a hammer or a nail. So what the hell you talk about you bill? You don't bill nothing but hate. They talk about all of the things they do. No. And things have shifted. Things have shifted. I ain't saying we can't go back to the old. Something catastrophic can happen and stuff can do. But what women do know, if I decided to build a farm, and that's actually what I'm doing, I can do that with another woman. It may take two of us to lift this 100-pound bag of fertilizer, but we can actually do it if we put our minds to it. I just look at that village in Africa that those women created. I think it started off with 14 women, and they were basically abused women. And those women created a village, and the men around them started attacking them. They didn't want anything from men. They just wanted to be left alone. Some of them were raped, beaten, just domestic violence. I guess they call it something else in Africa, but that's what it was. And the men who lived in the land surrounding them would start attacking them. And eventually those women got together and they continued to work and build, and they bought out the land of the men surrounding them, and they had to get off of it. And that's what men fear, that women will actually come together and demand better treatment, demand that they are not able to take advantage of women. So, I ain't meant to get up here on my soapbox and stuff, and now talking about all this stuff that means men gonna be mad I'm on their channel. They're gonna call me a feminist.
Yeah. I don't get why they keep going up. Okay, black women weren't feminists. Okay, we had other issues to deal with. Oh yeah, we want equal work for equal pay, but name me anybody that don't want that and stuff like that. That was mostly white women doing this. We just reap the benefits of it. Well, as
And
much benefits.
black men want the same pay as white men, because I know my husband worked construction in Miami, and he talked about how the white men would come on the job and them other white men would get paid. What talking about? They got families, like niggas ain't had families. So black men want the same equal pay as white men. So I don't know why they might have a problem with black women saying we both working at Burger King flipping these fucking burgers. If you get $10 an hour, I want $10 an hour. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. and because a few handful of black women joined the feminist women movement, all of a sudden all us black women joined the feminist movement. Nah, I could care less at the time about feminists. Okay, yeah, I agree with them about equal work, equal pay. As much choices. Um, on what I do with my body, sexually or otherwise, and the ways I protect it from having kids before I'm ready to have kids.
And these men don't even be wanting these kids, because I don't know no women or no too many women that's saving themselves to marriage. Because number one, the marrying age getting higher and higher, and it may be some to the black women that's gonna be virgins to their 35, because we had the highest percentage of women who were unmarried over the age of 40. So I don't know no women who ain't saving themselves to marriage, but it's like a double-edged sword. If we abort the babies, you mad. If we don't abort the babies, you mad. You can't just please them, because it's really not about pleasing them. It's about them having control. And no, they don't. First thing I say, oh, she trapped me. She trapped me. She trapped me. Really?
Oh yeah.
So which way do you want it? Do you want us to have birth control? But a lot of men, like I've been hearing stuff, trap women too. They want to get that woman pregnant because they think they could come and lay and play, even if they don't marry her. They
Mm-hmm.
feel like they could come back there when they want to, in between men or whatever, when they want to, just cause they laid a baby there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or they wanna tie to the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had, one of my mom's friend had an abortion because she found out that this guy was crazy and he tampered with her birth controls,
Mm-hmm.
with her birth control pills or something like that. I don't know how he did that. And and by the time she found out how crazy he was and stuff like that, she found out she was pregnant. And
And
she didn't want to tie to him because she'll never get rid of him. You know, she
women
regrets
don't
it.
really.
She regrets it, but that was a decision that she was backed in the corner to make. That's something she always have to live with because she strongly believed that that it was murder, but it was like the wolf with his paw in the trap. She had to, in order to get free from this man,
Lose a paw.
she had to bite her paw off to get it out the trap.
And
And
this guy, Zach,
mhm,
and I don't even watch football, but when you say this statistically, people collect this stuff. Most women's first issue of physical violence is once she becomes pregnant. And they say that's great, but that is a domestic violence fact. The first instance of physical, not the mental or whatever, but the physical is oftentimes when she becomes pregnant. And that's what happened to that white lady. The first time he hit her was when she was pregnant. So they talk about they want you to have babies, and then they're actually not all men, but there's a dynamic that is going on and has been going on that is crazy. I don't know if they say that you're in a more vulnerable state and now I can really show you who the person I am or whatever, but that is real. And now that's why I say if I would never, I'm a single mama.
mhm,
I would never give up my fertility and my ability to have babies because I always wanted to be a mother. Just because I go to the sperm bank and I tell women all the time, girl, you gonna have you some babies, having a baby good for your body. But I would really question if I could do it over again. I I would go to I wouldn't give up to me, and that's everybody's own personal decision. Or I would adopt a kid or something. But yeah, sometimes being conjoined with these men forever, cause marriage don't really tie you to people forever. Them children tie you to people forever.
mhm. Yeah, I even seen it when the child died. The parents were still tied. They were tied with their grief, but they were still tied. And every anniversary of the child's death, they both of them somehow make their way to the graveside. To mourn the loss of their child.
Yeah,
So the children tie, I think, is stronger in the marriage tie, especially if both parents both they love the child. You know.
yeah. I don't have any kids from my first husband, and I don't never have to see that man. I don't never have to know what he do. But I do have kids with my children father, which we weren't married. I
Mhm,
always got to deal with him in some capacity.
mhm,
You know, whether it be his interaction. Our kids are grown, but
mhm,
there's always gonna be a connection there. We ain't gonna sit on the phone and talk and be like, hey, how you doing? But we're always connected through those kids.
mhm. Yeah.
So, but it's just amazing that white people have been so crafty that they're literally, they don't have to do a thing anymore. They don't have to put a finger down, but they're dividing up black men and black women to the point where they talk about we don't want to have babies with each other. Right
Mhm.
now, we are, what are we? Are we 13% of the population?
Yep.
Hispanics are like 27, or is this
Oh
these
no, no, no. They high, but they not um above 13 yet, unless you counting illegals. Um.
right now the projection is that by 2040, 2050, white people are going to be a minority, when you put all the minorities together collectively, will make up more than 51% of the population. Now, Hispanics are the fastest growing number. They're projected to be, I think, 27%. His Black people are projected to be 13%, and I want to say Asians are somewhere around 9%. And at this rate, if we keep going like we going and talking like we talking, we're gonna even be less than Asian people because we don't stop screwing each other. And we don't stop making baby. They don't have to do nothing now. The stuff they done to put enough in place that we can't even get together and have kids and marry and be functional. And they ain't got to do a thing else but let this cycle continue and this stuff continue on the path it's on.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like the more successful relationship are the ones where they're not married. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert in relationships, but I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times people be putting their 2 cents in people relationship because I ain't never heard so many people got so much advice for other people relationship and how men should run their house than on these YouTube streets. And I have, people come like, if those two people keep other people out their relationship and all they 2 cents in advice, unless it's stuff like domestic violence or something in where other people should put their stuff in, then people relationships will be probably okay. But it's everybody coming in. Girl, you let your husband do that. Man, what you mean your woman ain't cooking? Why you in the kitchen cooking? She should be cooking. If they keep other people out their stuff and let their relationship develop how it's supposed to, it probably would be better off. But
Shoes. The fact that they're going to other men on advice on how to get women and stuff like that shows how much they are into each other's business. I never seen so many men into each other's business and women's business. That's why if I go around my town, I speak to some of the older generation. They think the younger generation of guys are punks. It's like, and they
yeah.
ask if they gay, especially the YouTube manosphere sector. Because when I was first coming there, I was asking questions. Sometimes if you catch a man one on one, you can get real stuff from. So I would ask them questions, and one of the first things they were like, "Are these men gay?" Like when I first heard what a woman brings to the table. Now, some of the older men were like, they like a little confused. What you mean? What you bring to the? They go like food, and then I expound. This is what they're saying. They said, and they were like, how do they not know what women bring to the table? Don't you know what women bring and stuff like that? It said, well, then you don't need no woman then. You don't know what she brings to the table. And
Nigga, you ain't got nothing but styrofoam plates. You ain't even had no table. You eating on a tray. That's what we bring the fucking table. We bring the ability to tell you where to buy the table at and the dishes to put on the table and the silverware and the flowers and the vases. We bring all that to the table. You ain't even had no good tray. As a matter of fact, you was eating on the milk crate that you
yeah.
stole from behind the stove.
Yeah, so they were like, uh, you know, there was very, one man was like, "Are they stupid? Or are they not very smart and they don't deserve no woman?" And another one was like, Are they? They did that Fred Sanford's with the hand. Are they? So
Yeah.
that's a really old school when they don't even want to say the word. They just
But the gay men are holding their own. The gay men are going, they got jobs, they buying their own stuff, they doing their thing. It's these DL men that's going around who don't want to work and ain't doing what they supposed to do. That's slipping around, sneaking with these gay men. The gay men carrying their own weight. The black women are carrying their own weight. The gay men got their own apartments and places and cars.
yeah.
If it weren't for the generosity, and this is what I observed growing up, the women, whether it was a shike or a home, always had a place to stay. It was the uncles coming in where they come, go out of town or whatever, they come and sleep on the grandma couch, the auntie couch, or extra room or that. And they never had their own place. They was always dependent on the generosity of women. And regardless if she had a shike or what, she still was that place where they was able to lay their head, where they didn't have to pay rent at. If she had a room in a rooming house, it was still hers. But them men didn't even have that. They always stayed in the other women's stuff. They aunties, they sister. Even my crackhead uncle try to exert dominion over me. I'm like, nigga, you think you gonna tell me what to do? I done bought the fucking lawnmower, I done bought the gas, and I'm paying you more than everybody else, and you think you gonna have dominion over me because you a man? Get the whole entire fuck out of here, and I'm paying you more than anybody pay you on the street. But cause he got a pair of balls, and even though he a crackhead, he supposed to have authority over me.
Uh, that never flies. But maybe a little different. I'm used to um they well, let me be honest. I have half and half in my family. I got quite a few male relatives. They have their own place, their own house. Um, or they have an apartment. You know, but most of the time they brought houses like when they get married. But they had their own place, vehicles, working. The only time they stay at relatives if they staying, coming from out of town, they just want to be with family, but they could just as easily get a hotel. But then again, you're right. I do have some relatives. It seemed like they going from family member to family member to family member, and they never seem to have their own place. They have their woman's place,
Mm-hmm.
um, their girlfriend's place, but they don't have their own place. And they started staying with family when him and the girl break up, and then they moving around to their mama's house, their grandma's house, aunties, cousins.
Trying to exert dominion over them women house, and then they get put out because they don't want to pay their share. They feel like they supposed to come up in there and stay for the free, then don't even clean up behind themselves, want to eat your food and not contribute to the groceries, and basically live off women.
Yeah.
And no, we're not doing that no more. But they should be glad women are kind hearted and have generosity, because if it wasn't, they're gonna see a whole bunch of homeless men, because women are not, they saying, I'm tired. I'm not doing it anymore, and women aren't doing it. No, Pookie, you can't stay. I know we was growing up as cousins, but you can't stay here no more. You got
What?
to get your own place.
Okay, I'm trying to make out what this thing. She's saying that 13% of the population is geometria. It is not accurate.
Um, well, I'm not, even if we 15% of the population in the United States, we are projected not to be the big, Hispanic is projected to be the biggest minority by 2040. They could be playing with the percentages here or there, but everybody birth rates are down across the table because
Mhm.
we have better access to birth control. Ain't nobody having 10 children no more. But if black women and black men, we don't have better relationships, we're gonna probably go down to like 10%.
And then I think what it is, we're also kind of hammered into our girls not to get pregnant as teenagers. Because I remember coming up, like at least three of my friends was pregnant when we graduated.
And that's the thing about patriarchy.
Hmm.
Women across the board, because the world has not been, I can't fight white women's battles, but the world has not been kind. And these white men mad. They white women don't even want to have babies from them. No white women say, I don't like you, white man. I don't want your children no more. You on some F stuff too. But we know what happened in the black community. We don't know what happened in white homes, because they'll put their business out. But them white women don't even want no white men, baby. That's why they ain't having them. And when they definitely couldn't get no mammoths no more to keep their children for $25, and take care of their whole house for $25, they stop having all them waterhead children. And white men can't even get. That's why they try to deal with this abortion issue and stuff. Because they trying to force white women to have babies by any means necessary. Because their numbers are dwindling.
Okay.
And they need those numbers to maintain this white patriarchy. But instead of being good men, they want to dominate and force. And women saying, I'm closing up shop. And they said, we're going to close up the chop shop. So you're going to have them. And we
Okay.
just going to say, I'm going to get better birth control.
All right.
But that's,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The chat is having some interesting discussion here. How do black women use white women for a come up? And let's see.
in the past, white women were able to do some, for example, for the right to vote. For the right to vote. White women were instrumental in getting black men the right to vote. They did their little work from the side because they thought it would be mutually beneficial to white women if they could get black men the right to vote. Then they was next, or they both of them would be working together to help each other out. But white women have gotten, they have access to places that we don't have access to at times. I know when I was trying to get some laws and stuff passed, I tried to work with white women, but white women did what white people do. They steal your ideas. And I just really couldn't tolerate them. So I kind of stepped out of some things I was trying to get done legislatively because they were already in the room to work with them, but they ain't doing nothing but steal your ideas. And stuff. So
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. That was back to it was crazy that black men use white women for come up, but black women using white women for come up is wrong. All right. Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. There's a debate on whether um, white have the biggest population in America. As for right now, I think they still do.
they have.
Hmm.
And the demographics are changing. And that is why we saw the stacking of the federal court system, because there has never been a time in this country where white people could not determine if a white person get in office or not. And because these numbers are by 2040 supposed to be skewed, where minorities will have the biggest thing, how do white people continue to control everything? If they cannot vote themselves into office because they lack the number, they have to have judges that are appointed to the federal bench to reinterpret the law in their favor and maintain that control to buy them time to get their numbers up. And that is
Hmm.
why you see the big thing they got on abortion, because they need to get their numbers up because these women ain't having these babies. And since and even in some states, they was fighting to make the legal marrying age, and the white men didn't want the legal marrying age, I think, to be 18, because there's still, if a mom signed a consent form or a parent, a child can get married.
Hmm.
And because these white women are not having all these babies by these white men, they messing with the abortion law. It wouldn't even surprise me, because it wasn't until, I want to say, Clinton got in office, I want to say it was in 92 or whatever, around that time, when actual birth control became available on insurance. Before then, birth control was not available on insurance. People who had lower income could go to the health department and get it. But if you were above poverty level, you had to pay for birth control out of your pocket, because my mom was a social worker and she ain't make no bunch of money, but she was above poverty level, so she didn't qualify. And I remember the Nora plant was, I want to say, $300. So she would have had to
Hmm.
come out her pocket with $300 for me to get a Nora plant, because the birth control was not available at that time. When I got my first birth control, I don't think it was available. I think Clinton made insurances provide birth control. And since those things have gotten in place, you see more of the teen pregnancy numbers decreasing. And these white men don't care who have babies, teens or not. They want babies by any means necessary.
Okay. And
And
that's
so,
why there's all this discussion about the age of consent laws.
yes. So a lot of these actions we looking at separately, they actually are the stacking of the federal benches with men, white men that will determine abortion and things like that in favor to stack the numbers of white babies being born. Like I said, if a Republican get in office, it wouldn't surprise me if they do something to take birth control off of insurance. Now, it's really funny that Viagra is considered covered by insurances, I think, and
Mhm.
covered under, I don't want to say Medicaid and Medicare, but there's a thing called a G shot for women that's not available. They say it's okay. Men need to keep their dick hard, regardless if they may having babies or not. But women, it's this thing that can make you, if you got the female version of eating, we ain't gonna make that available on insurance. So there's no what they call it, equity or equality within that stuff. But black people better get the fucking and making babies and marrying. Else we gonna really be in trouble. Cause at 27%, and if the white man is at 51, the Spanish people still fucking and having babies. If they increase their numbers, they'll be able to get a white man a go at the numbers game. So they wouldn't need to do nothing but grab one mind. If they get their numbers up and white men numbers keep decreasing in births, the Spanish man to be able to say, hey, I'm gonna partner with one of these other minorities over here, and we're gonna run things.
Mm.
So white men want to probably partner up with Hispanic men because that's the next Hispanic people, because that's the next demographic. But if black people, we're not going to even be at the table because we're going
Well,
to actually allow Asians to surpass us if we don't get our act together.
yeah, yeah. Mm-mm-mm. But
So
it's gonna be hard because, like Mama Rain said, for the most part, marriage should never save black women from working outside. Oh, wait a minute, working outside the home. But no, um, it we can't seem to come together. And if we go by YouTube, we can't seem to come together because right now nobody's liking each other right now. You know, we got black men saying they hate black women, don't like us. They said they hate what we do to them, and I'd be like, "What are you talking about? What do we do to you?" But I saw one who was giving his list, and that they going to white women who appreciate them or some other group, but yet they trying to talk and dictate the behavior of black women, and it's just aggravating the women. I said, what, because I'm thinking, if this particular woman you have no interest in because she is not the type of woman you're looking for, why don't you just go on to the black women that do?
they
Because right
don't
now the black women outnumber the black men, so they should have a wider selection to choose from.
they use that to dumb black women down and to try to scare you into submission. Oh, we gonna go to these white. Go ahead. Guess what the white woman saying? We being baby mamas too. And now your children, your mixed children over here don't even like you either, black man. And you done made these mixed children that don't even like you. Now you got hate on the mixed children you don't created don't like you, and the black children you abandoned don't like you. So what I don't know. I ain't followed the statistics because I've heard it repeated. This don't necessarily have to be true. But
Yeah.
um them women that messing with black, them other race women that's messing with black men are becoming the fastest group of single mamas.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to look for it again, but ran into the statistics that said that they even said, that the way they worded it, that that white women, Hispanic women, at the time they didn't put Asian in the group, there's a higher population of unwed motherhood, and they connected it to their relationships with black men. And I was like, what they increased in in single baby motherhood, unwed mother, while ours had decreased. Because I was like, oh, what's going on here? Why are we decreasing and they suddenly increasing? And when you know how it is when you look into the
Mm-hmm.
information of the stats, is their relationship with black men seem to be the common factor. I was like, okay, so y'all making single baby mamas across the board.
Because what they told them, listen, it's them black women over there. It's them. They just so masculine. They don't know how to be nice. They don't be cooking us dinner when we get home. They forget that them black women be walking in the door at the same time they walking in the door from work.
Mhm.
But they so masculine. They don't know how to treat men. You know how to treat Papi Chulo. You know how to do it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have your dinner cooked, Poppy, and everything when you get home. And now they finding out they got the same black man that black women get, but I ain't gonna. But you know,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's not going to be working anymore. I mean, white women are discovering, he's lying to them.
but even white women are not. When you go to countries, European countries, where like Italy and other places where women have access to birth control, education, and employment, they're not even having babies because they didn't like the deal. You ain't never seen nothing. Then see, white men will let the women use their toys and money when they're in the home with them. And I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna keep repeating. Them white men will take the feelings out their wife mouth when they get divorced if they bought it with their insurance. They want them to leave destitute and dusty. But because the white man recognize the importance of the image of being a provider, they revel in it. But when they leave them woman and try to get rid of them, they'll take the feelings out their teeth if they can. They don't want them to even leave with their draws. They be like, I bought them Victoria's Secret. They need to stay here. Just take your whatever and go. You can get a suitcase. You can't get your jewelry. You can't get your car. You can't get nothing but yourself.
Yeah.
So, but that's a whole nother level. I can't be worried about white women issues because we got black women issues, but they got their own set of drama over there that we don't get to talk about because we're too busy putting out the fires in our own community.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, but that's something that the swirlers never talk about. Those that want to advocate swirling, going to white men, it's not pretty over there. Okay.
I say for people to find love wherever they find love at. Me personally, I like black men. I don't like I like black American men. I don't like black Hispanic men. I don't like black Haitian men. I don't like black African men. I just want me a black old American man. That is just what I'm comfortable with. I ain't saying nothing wrong with them other people. That's just what I'm comfortable with. But if I ain't had no choice of having, I would date outside. You find love where you can find it. And so that's what women are doing. I'm not gonna say a man is a man is a man is a man. They all got their good and their bad points. And the race of the man, I don't know if it make a difference or not because that ain't my experience. I don't know too much to talk about them. But I do hear people saying all men need to be vetted. And I think that's true. You don't get a stamp of approval just because you're of a different race or ethnicity. That should not be the thing that says you're a good man. Cause even within my mama always told me that you date men outside your race, some of them bad habits they have in their culture that they don't show you when you're younger, they
Uh-huh.
come out when they older. Like let's say you get with a Middle Eastern man. He might be nice when y'all going to high school together and y'all dating, but when they get older and settle into that role, those misogynistic tendencies that some of them, that patriarchal, strict environment that they have of their women in
Mhm.
their culture begin to come out as they get older. So some of those things in their youth are not evident, but as they get older, they come out. So, all men need to be vetted. I guess all women too.
Mhm. Yeah, 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 and that's what I said. Dating is supposed to be about courting, finding out is this the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Not just to see if this the person you want to have sex with. No, no, no. There's more to life than just sex. Um, and
I would.
hey, sex can lead to children, and you got to think every time you have sex that you possibly creating a child with this person. Do you want to be spend the rest of your life with this person? Do you know this person well enough to know if you want to spend the rest of your life with this person, or attached to this person in some kind of way through the child?
But
But no,
we don't live in a world
mhm.
where we don't live in a world when we fix stuff. When our TV break, we don't say, let me call the man out here to fix it. I said, that's what I say. We don't call the repairman to come out and fix the TV. We wait the Black Friday and we go buy a new TV because it costs more to fix that TV than it do to buy a new one. We throw that other one away, and that's kind of how our relationships work. We don't like what you talk about. Counseling costs $200 an hour. I ain't finna stay that. I could pay this bitch over here $100 and go on a date rather than spend $200 an hour trying to fix this relationship.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's kind of how we is. Like I could just scrap this and get a new one. The light tube, the picture tube in this don't work no more. It costs more money to get it fixed. So I'm gonna just get me a new one. Plus, this the old model. This the old big screen TV with the big ass on it. I don't want that old big screen with the big ass on it. I want this new flat screen. The Aqua Vision with the curve and the this and the that. And it's Black Friday coming up, and I'm gonna get me that. Fuck this old flow model. So
Oh my goodness.
that's what it is.
Yeah, but then there's the
And now,
Russians that's hanging on to the fat
eh,
booty TV, like still working. I'm
and now women can go and get them a new flat model screen TV too, and that's they mad because these cougars out here, they go and say, I don't want this old model. I want me a new flat screen too. I
uh,
want me. I want the 2000. I don't want the 1974 version. I want me a. I want me a 2000 model. I want me a model that was made in 2012 or something. My husband was made in 1974 with me. I don't want no 1974 model. I'm gonna upgrade. I'm gonna get me a 2000 model, man.
okay, all right. Uh, Phoenix and them. Okay. Look, y'all sounding kind of like y'all starting a fight. Okay, she's gone. If all women came together to fight against all men, we could make changes. Black women are stuck behind the eight ball by staying under black men when black men and white men are man code. On man code. On man code.
I agree. I think that women have to come together and not allow men to divide us against each other. I think when we play the game of the hierarchical game that we put women in. Oh, she classy, she ratchet, she ghetto, she a baby mama, she wife of material, she a slut. When we engage in that, we allow men to divide us up, and he screwed all of us. And I say this story 100 times. The head football player at our school, the quarterback, was popular. He got the girl who looked like a mullet fish pregnant. Now, I know the girl looked like a mullet fish because when I first met her in second grade, I said she looked like a mullet fish. And in high school, everybody else had said it, but I had never said it to nobody else because that would have been mean. But I thought it. But when other people said it, it had to be true because they saw what I saw. Now, everybody didn't think that she was pregnant from him because he is the quarterback and he go at the cute girl who the cheerleader. Guess who that baby daddy was?
The quarterback.
Exactly. Because they divide women up and they screw all of us. If we closed up shop and didn't allow that man to say, oh, my wife don't understand me, she not feminine, she not submissive, and let him come and lay up with us and lay up with this, it would make them have to get their act together, and they couldn't shop around. If you close up all the stores, they would have to either get right or get them a boyfriend.
Ah, okay. It's sounding like let me see, they did a
And I'm
movie
not
based out
saying
of
anything against men.
mm-hmm.
Understand that. I'm not saying anything against men. I'm saying women, we should not allow ourselves to be in competition with each other for dick. And that is not anti-man. That's saying women. I'm not going to hate on you as my sister. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to engage in these games. I'm not going to let this house be divided against women.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, if that forces men to act better, to not have a honor, ethics, and a way in which they operate and talk to women and treat women, then that's not a bad thing. Saying we're gonna have standards and we're not gonna cheat with each other man is not anti-man. It's saying that I'm not against you, but I'm not gonna let you hop from pillar to post, from Susie to Jane to Mary to Jenny to Kim. We just not gonna allow that. And
Okay. I see
that's
what
what's always happened in the past. They were allowed to have all of those options. And women, we just need to take the options off the table. And if they find that distasteful, that they cannot sleep with all of the women, then that's not a women being mean problem. That's just women exercising dick control over men that they are not exercising over themselves.
mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
But I got to get up and get ready for to go back to work tonight.
All right.
I was
And
trying to wait for old boy to come back, but I guess he's not gonna come back. But I love
yeah.
my women, and we need to get on code, not for us to take advantage of men, because we ain't trying to do that, but we need to get on code to make them not be able to divide us up
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So I will
Yeah.
be joining everybody panel. Everybody, I will be subscribing to everybody who got a channel, and if they could stop by and see me, that would be great too.
All right.
All right, you
Okay.
have
And
a
I gotta
good.
go get ready for ladies' night. Shoot, I hadn't even set up yet. Gotta go get ready for ladies' night. So,
What's ladies' night?
ladies' night is tonight at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Um, Well, we have a variety of topics. It's just ladies getting together to talk about whatever. I'll have either some topics, or we might comment on some videos, seeing how it pertains to today. We might actually even just play games. Because one time we was playing Crazy Eights. I'm thinking about having another round of Crazy Eights. Or we were doing like a little Black History Trivia Pursuit. Well, not Trivia Pursuit. It was more like um, guessing who it is after some clues.
Okay.
So it'll vary. Shoots. We even had karaoke at one point. I just think of it as women getting together. We talk about things that interest us or what's going on in the world. We might play some games. We might sing. We might have fun. um anything that women would do when they get together. That's how I've always saw ladies night, and that's how it started off in the beginning. But sometimes, it'll be a discussion of whatever. It might start off with a particular topic, and we'll go on from there.
Is it on your channel or is it on this channel?
It's on this channel, but it's gonna be
Okay.
called Ladies Night.
Well, I will
Yeah.
try to pop in between my break at work tonight.
All right. All
All
right.
right. Have a nice one. It was nice meeting you and nice meeting ladies in the panel.
All right. Nice meeting you too, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, Coach. How
Mm-hmm.
do you pronounce your whole username here?
Well, it's really Cole J Malik. It's just a combination of my children's name. So
Oh,
somebody
okay.
had shortened it to just Koja. But yeah, Cora Jamal and Malik.
Yeah, because
So
for last night I thought your name was Culture.
no, it's just Koja.
Okay.
That's
All
short.
right, then.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. It was nice talking with you. I
You
enjoyed
too.
it.
All right,
Mhm.
too. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. We'll see y'all here for ladies' night. Be on the lookout for the notification. Or hey, just go searching. It's part of the Evidence Star Network, but it's titled Ladies' Night. All right, so it's gonna be 7 o'clock Central Time, which is my time zone, Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. And oh shoots, I can't remember all the rest of them behind me, but 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. All right. So peace, power, unity, everyone. And I see y'all later tonight. We're gonna go out with a little music and